Have you ever felt like you've lost a piece of yourself along the way? Like you're going through the motions, even in your own marriage? That's exactly where Lola found herself. On the outside, she had it all, a loving husband, a stable life. But inside, she felt a quiet emptiness, a sense of being disconnected not just from her partner, but from herself. Her story isn't just about a marriage in trouble, it's about a woman who forgot who she was. And it's a story that might feel very familiar to many of you. Lola and her husband, Mark, were high school sweethearts. They built a life together, brick by brick. But over the years, the vibrant colors of their relationship started to fade into shades of gray. The spontaneous laughter was replaced by predictable routines. The deep conversations became transactional talks about bills and schedules. Lola looked at Mark and saw the man she loved, but the connection, that spark, felt distant. She started to wonder, was this all there was to it? Was this the happily ever after everyone talked about? The feeling was unsettling, a slow ache in her heart that she couldn't quite name. The real turning point came on their 10th anniversary. Mark had planned a fancy dinner, just like he did every year. He gave her a beautiful necklace, just like he always did. And as Lola sat there, across the table from him, she felt a profound sense of sadness. It was all perfect on the surface, but it felt hollow. She realized the problem wasn't just the routine, it was her. She had been so focused on being a good wife, a good partner, that she had completely lost touch with Lola. The woman who loved to paint, who would dance in the rain, who had dreams and passions of her own. She had disappeared. That night, she couldn't sleep. She walked into her old art studio, now a dusty storage room. She ran her hand over a blank canvas, and for the first time in years, she felt a flicker of something real. A desire. Not for anyone else, but for herself. She decided right then and there that she couldn't continue living this half-life. It wasn't fair to her, and it wasn't fair to Mark. She had to find her way back to herself, not just for her own sake, but for the sake of their marriage. This was the beginning of Lola's journey. The first step was the hardest, telling Mark how she felt. She was terrified he would be hurt, or worse, that he wouldn't understand. One evening, she took a deep breath and laid her heart bare. She told him she felt lost, that she missed the woman she used to be, and that their connection felt strained because of it. To her surprise, Mark didn't get angry. He listened. And when she was done, he admitted he'd been feeling a distance too, but didn't know how to bridge it. He saw her not as a wife who was complaining, but as a person who was hurting. That single conversation, filled with vulnerability and honesty, opened a door they had both thought was locked forever. With Mark's support, Lola started reclaiming her identity. She cleaned out the storage room and set up her art studio again. The first few brushstrokes were clumsy and uncertain, but with each one, she felt a piece of her soul coming back to life. She started painting again, not for anyone else, but for the sheer joy of creation. She enrolled in a dance class, something she hadn't done since college. She felt awkward at first, but soon, the music took over, and she found a freedom in movement that she had long forgotten. These weren't grand gestures, they were small, intentional acts of self-love. As Lola reconnected with her passions, something amazing began to happen. The more she filled her own cup, the more she had to give to her relationship. Her conversations with Mark started changing. Instead of just logistics, she'd tell him about a new color she mixed, or a funny moment from her dance class. Her energy was infectious. Mark saw the light returning to her eyes, and it reminded him of the girl he fell in love with. He started making changes too. He picked up his old guitar and began playing again. They weren't just husband and wife anymore, they were two individuals, growing alongside each other, sharing their journeys. They decided to redefine what intimacy meant for them. It wasn't just about physical touch, it was about shared experiences and emotional closeness. They started a new tradition, adventure dates. Instead of the same old dinner and a movie, they tried new things together. They went hiking on trails they'd never explored, took a pottery class where they laughed at their lopsided creations, and went to concerts for bands they'd never heard of. They were building a bank of new, vibrant memories, replacing the faded ones. They were learning to be curious about each other again, asking questions not out of habit, but out of genuine interest. "What are you excited about today?" became their new "How was your day?" The journey wasn't a straight line, of course. There were days of self-doubt for Lola, and moments of insecurity for Mark. Rebuilding intimacy after years of disconnect takes work. But what made the difference was their commitment to communication. They learned to talk about the awkward stuff, the fears, the small resentments before they could grow. They created a safe space where being vulnerable wasn't a weakness, but a strength. They understood that a healthy marriage wasn't about two people becoming one, but about two whole, independent people choosing to walk the same path together. Lola's story is a powerful reminder that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. Nurturing your own passions, dreams, and sense of self isn't selfish, it's essential. It's the foundation upon which all other healthy relationships are built. When you are truly connected to who you are, you bring your best, most vibrant self to your partnership. You move from a place of need to a place of wholeness. Lola didn't need to leave her marriage to find herself. She needed to find herself to truly show up in her marriage. Her journey back to herself was ultimately the journey that brought her and Mark closer than ever before. If Lola's story resonates with you, maybe it's time to ask yourself, what part of you have you been neglecting? What small step can you take today to reconnect with your own passions? It could be picking up an old hobby, reading a book just for fun, or simply taking a walk alone to clear your head. Your journey of self-discovery is waiting. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content about building a more fulfilling life and stronger relationships. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.